All right, let's say you are really good at what you do. You have got years of experience, you've got big clients, strong results, testimonials, you've got media features and podcast appearances and case studies to share. The evidence of your expertise exists. What if your website still isn't converting the way it should or the way you think it should be? That, my friend, could be evidence of a proof problem. And it's one of the most common credibility leaks that I'll see in websites that belong to women who are generally excellent at their work and have successful businesses where they've earned that level of authority and credibility. Before we dive into this further, if we haven't met yet, my name's Meg. I'm the founder of Purpose and Pixel, and I help established women entrepreneurs close that gap between their real-world expertise and how they're showing up online. Now, I've been doing some videos on a concept that I'm calling the credibility gap, and that's the distance between your real-world expertise and how your website is representing you. And I've been talking about 4 areas where that gap can show up in the form of leaks. And that's clarity, proof, path, and presence. And if you want, I am linking that overview video up above if you want to kind of get a general overview. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on proof specifically. So what is proof? Basically, it's what it sounds like, but what is it in the context of your website? Proof is going to be that evidence that backs up everything you're claiming about yourself and your work. It's the testimonials, the client's results, case studies, your credentials or licensing, media mentions such as TV, magazine, podcast appearances. It could be any awards you've received. It's anything that takes what you say about yourself and makes it believable, supports what you do to someone who doesn't know you yet. And if that proof is broken or leaking on your website, it can usually show up in one of 2 ways. The first way it can show up is in terms of prominence or lack of prominence. Now, your proof may exist on your site, but people have to hunt for it. Maybe it's tucked into the bottom of your homepage or too far down your homepage, or it's on just one dedicated page of testimonials, or an about page that maybe people don't go to a lot, not a very high traffic page. Or maybe it's only shown a couple of times, 1 or 2 testimonials here or there. This is the thing that you need to remember, is that your potential clients, people that are coming to your site that don't already know you or have some sense of you, they're not coming in there as like private investigators. They're not going to want to be spending a lot of time digging for evidence that you are credible, that you're an expert in your field. If it's not directly in their path as they're moving through your homepage, your services page, it's basically functionally invisible to them. Now, you could have all the proof in the world, but it's not going to count if it's technically present, but practically hidden. So moving on. The second area this can be a problem is in terms of a frequency problem. And I kind of hinted that above. So this is like you have 1 testimonial on your homepage or 1 case study in your portfolio and maybe nothing else except maybe 1 thing here in the footer or maybe 1 thing on your services page. That's not enough. Trust is not going to be built in a single moment. It's going to be built through repetition. So every time a visitor sees evidence that you've delivered real results for real people, their confidence in you, at least subconsciously, is likely to go up a notch. And 1 data point doesn't do that. A pattern does. So proof needs to appear throughout your site, not just once, multiple times. And it's okay to have the same testimonial repeated on different pages, on your homepage, on your services page, in your process sections, on your about page. It needs to be woven in across your site, not just collected in one place and left there. Now, I do want to take 1 moment to say that, remember, topic of this video, what I'm focusing on here is directed towards women, particularly service providers, entrepreneurs, that have many years of expertise and many years in business. So they've built up this evidence and they have it ready to go. If you're watching this video and you're new in business and you're saying, Meg, I don't have that much yet. I only have 1 piece from my portfolio or one client testimonial. That's okay. This isn't for you. You are starting in a different place, and that is a perfectly acceptable place to start as you're building this up. So I don't want to discount that, feel like that, or tell you that you are out of luck if you only have a few pieces on hand. This is more directed to folks that have amassed quite a bit of proof that they can share on their websites and how to use that effectively. Now, as we get back to this, I also want to note that there's something that's worth naming here too about why I think that this leak is more common than you might think, especially among highly accomplished women. I think a lot of us can often feel very uncomfortable leading with our credentials or our awards or all of these things where we've been seen or performed. It can feel like bragging or like showing off, and a lot of us aren't comfortable with that. Maybe we feel like it's too salesy or marketing. So we tend to minimize it and think, well, if I do one or two tasteful mentions here and maybe I'll include it on my LinkedIn profile or stuff like that, and I'll just move on. But what happens is that if it's not prominent enough and consistent across their websites, it can often end up underselling them badly because of it. So please remember that your credentials, where you've shown up, the work that you have done, and the proof of that, of your expertise, that's not bragging. It's really serving as an orientation point for someone who's trying to decide whether or not to trust you with their very real problem. So you're not being modest by burying your proof. You are making their decision harder when you do that. While we're here, before we move on, a quick note about outdated proof, because that can also be a problem. So if you have testimonials or things that are from several years ago, maybe even decades ago, do a kind of quick audit of them and see if they're still relevant. And what I mean by that is, like, if you have, some evidence or proof that's from a season of your business that is no longer current, if that proof no longer reflects the work that you do or who you serve or where you're at in your business now, it might be worth not including it. So it doesn't mean that proof wasn't accurate, but if it's not still relevant and really supporting where you are in your businesses now, you might consider leaving that off. Because if you have really disjointed evidence where some is really in line with where you are now and some of it doesn't reflect where you are now or who you serve, that can cause a conflict that might not instill confidence in people visiting you. So do that kind of quick review and make sure that it's just relevant and it's as current as possible. Now, some other places, if you're wanting to kind of do a quick audit of your own site and looking for areas of proof problems, just go ahead and open up your homepage. Count how many times you have real evidence of your expertise and your results appearing before someone has to scroll all the way down to the bottom of your page or before they have to go to another page on your main services page. Root through that. Ask yourself whether or not somebody who might be a little skeptical or a complete stranger, by the time they reach your call to action or time to book your service, do they have enough information to trust you and to be willing to take that next step with you? And if you can't answer that with a resounding, confident, yes, it is, then there's a chance you might have a proof problem. And proof is just one of the 4 areas where I mentioned that there can be credibility leaks. And knowing that if you have a proof problem can be very useful. But what if that's not the only problem? Or what if it's not your biggest problem? Knowing where your biggest issue is in terms of your credibility gap could be a lot more useful to you in knowing where you need to focus and how to bring your expertise and your website presence more in line, closing that gap. And that's exactly what the credibility gap type quiz is for. It takes 2 minutes and it will tell you which type of credibility gap you may be experiencing the most and might be doing the most damage for you on your site right now. I've dropped the link in the description below. You can go off and take that in just 2 minutes and get some clear results of what type you are most aligned with and get some direction on how to take action right away so that you don't waste hours and days trying to fix the wrong thing. Now, in the next video, I'll be back to talk more about path and what that is, break it down, and why even well-designed sites can often still get this wrong. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss it, and I'll see you then.